Serb forces are on the brink of capturing Bihać with no signs that Allied forces can stop them. And the great after-Thanksgiving homeward rush is underway. This is the CBS Evening News. Dana King reporting. Good evening, everyone. Secretary of Defense William Perry admits the war in Bosnia has turned, and UN and NATO forces are powerless to stop the Serbs from closing in on Bihać. The best the UN can offer now is a ceasefire proposal. As Alan Pizzi reports, the Bosnian government has accepted that proposal, hoping it can still negotiate, not surrender.
It's the same as being in hell, a frantic plea from the mayor of Bihać for the outside world to witness the terror. But this scratchy radio link is almost the only peephole on the UN's failure to keep its promise of a safe area. The few images smuggled out are graphic, but by the time they are seen, even more horror has been perpetrated. The only hope for more than 100,000 people trapped in Bihać is a UN ceasefire proposal. The Bosnian government has said yes, now it's up to the Serbs.
They have the whole day tomorrow to accept it. If they don't, then it's quite clear that they want to buy more time and that the UN and NATO should do airstrikes.
But the UN has more problems with the Serbs. As if Bihać wasn't humiliation enough, today the Serbs shelled Canadian peacekeepers.
So we consider it that it was a direct attack on a UN installation because it was so close to the compound.
That's grounds for calling in NATO air power. The problem is the Serbs have UN hostages.
Their locations indicated by each one of these white pins.
More than 250 UN troops are blockaded by Serb forces, and today they took more. 164 British and Dutch peacekeepers were seized, and the UN says it can do nothing militarily.
If the scene gets much worse at the military level, then I suspect that the peacekeeping mission will find it very difficult to continue.
Both the UN and NATO now concede that air power is no longer an option. They waited too long, and now the Bosnian Serbs are too close to town and may have installed too many anti-aircraft defenses for the planes to be effective. And meanwhile, the killing goes on, unseen, ignorable.
Shells are flying over the hospital building. The situation is critical and chaotic. It's catastrophic. We are carrying out surgery in the hallways.
Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Sarajevo.
And with the UN peacekeeping effort apparently ending in failure, the scrambling for a new policy is underway. As Bob Orr reports, Washington is trying to find a way to steer clear of the political debris.
As President Clinton returned to the White House from a Thanksgiving break at Camp David, his top military advisor all but conceded that the Serbs have won the war in Bosnia.
The situation in Bosnia as we stand here is that the Serbs are in control of the situation.
Defense Secretary Perry said United Nations forces are powerless to stop the Serbs' attack on the Muslim city of Bihać. And European allies who are providing the UN peacekeeping troops on the ground oppose additional airstrikes.
The United Nations has not requested the use of NATO air power, and we have no authority to go in with our air power until and unless requested.
With hundreds of UN troops held hostage by the Serbs and thousands more peacekeepers potential targets for retaliation, the United Nations is unwilling to give NATO permission for airstrikes. Incoming Senate Majority Leader Bob Dole says the UN should end its failed peacekeeping mission and send in NATO bombers.
We've certainly given up, I think, for all practical purposes on NATO doing anything in this crisis, unless there's a big change of strategy.
Critics say the United States gave up any chance to change the outcome of the war at the start, when it refused to send in American soldiers.
We wanted leadership without responsibility. That was the problem. And it has been throughout this whole affair.
The Pentagon has shipped 2,000 Marines to stand by in the Adriatic for possible rescue missions. But Secretary Perry said today the administration will not commit them or any other Americans to combat.
To go in and truly affect the outcome of the war, win the war, so to speak, would involve several 100,000 ground troops involved in long and protracted warfare with many casualties. We are not planning to do that.
The White House recently has trumpeted a string of foreign policy successes, but with the Serbs now on the brink of winning the war, Bosnia is one place where the Clinton administration and the Western allies can only point to failure. Bob Orr, CBS News, the White House.
The outgoing Congress is coming back to Washington this week to vote on the GATT trade agreement. Treasury Secretary Lloyd Bentsen said today he was optimistic of passage now that Senate Republican leader Robert Dole has pledged his support. Also this week, the first Supreme Court hearing on the popular but controversial proposals for term limits for members of Congress. White House correspondent Bill Plant is here now with more on that. Good evening.
Good evening, Dana. If there were any doubt that the voters are upset with the politicians, just consider this. In the wake of this month's election, 22 states have now adopted term limits for their senators and members of Congress. And this week, the Supreme Court hears arguments in an Arkansas case testing whether the voters have the right to do that. Supporters, anticipating that the court may find the limits unconstitutional, say that one way or another, they're still coming.
The American people are either going to do it state by state or we're going to do it through a constitutional amendment, but term limits are coming.
Term limit supporters say the idea is unstoppable. They take credit for helping to defeat House Speaker Thomas Foley, who was challenging term limits. Opponents argue that the term limits already exist as elections.
Almost half of this new Congress is going to be different. We did that without term limits. We did that with elections. And that's the way the system ought to work.
But term limit supporters don't just want to change things, they want to turn them upside down, get rid of the seniority system. Moves which could affect the new Republican majority leaders in Congress. Congressman Ray Thornton is one of the House members who would eventually be out of a job under the Arkansas term limit law, which is being heard by the Supreme Court.
The principal supporters of term limits, having gained a majority in both the House and the Senate, seem to have lost some enthusiasm for curtailing their own terms of office.
It's already clear that if the Supreme Court decides the states don't have the power to impose term limits, then the pressure will be on Congress to pass a constitutional amendment. A process which, for the people now serving in Congress, puts things off for years and years to come. Dana?
For those of us who may need a refresher, what would it take to pass a constitutional amendment?
2/3 vote of both houses of Congress, ratification by 3/4 of the states. Takes a long time.
And quite an effort, too. So this kind of takes the pressure off of the Republicans now that the Supreme Court has picked up this ball and in light of their contract with America.
But suppose the Supreme Court doesn't uphold term limits. It comes back to the Republicans. They have a contract which says that in the first 100 days, they'll move to bring it to a vote. But that's all it says, bring it to a vote. And the versions that they will consider don't have any retroactive effect. So the Republicans who are now in Congress would get to stay there.
Interesting. All right, Bill Plant, thank you very much. And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, with Thanksgiving just behind us, word of an increase in hunger among the elderly, and artifacts from the Titanic on public display and in some dispute.
Can't sleep? I got the munchies.
The crunchies.
Harvest Crisps.
Great harvest grain taste for your munchies.
Even baked in crunchies.
Let's go back to bed.
Crumbs in the sheets?
Wild man.
Crunchy, delicious Harvest Crisps. I love them.
Your house is a geometric maze, so Black & Decker presents the Collector to get you through it. With built-in attachments to easily switch from brush to nozzle. The Collector, to keep your house in perfect shapes.
You've got to meet a colleague half a world away, so you race through the airport, then fly for half a day. And during that long haul, you get nothing done at all.
Sprint Business had a real solution for Landis & Gear. Their engineers now use the world's largest video conferencing network to work together more effectively.
Sprint's helping us create better ideas for our customers, which is making us more successful. And that's why we're in business in the first place.
Call Sprint Business. We help business do more business.
No messages. No faxes. No mind-numbing meetings. When I'm in my Eldo, I own the road, and nothing owns me.
El Dorado with the North Star system by Cadillac.
Old Man Winter is alive and well this holiday weekend. The winds of change blew in on a blanket of snow, closing the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport for a while and wrapping up the holiday travel with some unexpected delays. Monica Gale has more.
Thanksgiving weekend is one of the busiest travel times of the year, and today thousands were making their way back home, slowly but surely.
By the time we got in, everyone's pushing all over the place. They said standing room only, 200 people, all the way to Boston. It's crazy.
The holiday weekend blew in with a cold and snowy vengeance around much of the country. Weather-related delays at major airports were almost as predictable as leftover turkey. Old Man Winter, always a force to be reckoned with, decided to strut his stuff with a powerful storm that has brought snow and high winds to places like Fargo, North Dakota, where the conditions are just a taste of what's to come.
Influence is going to be felt by the people, say, in the northern states. The heavy snow up there could be as much as a foot, and the tornadoes and severe thunderstorms, should they materialize in the south central states, will certainly be very significant.
The heaviest snowfall so far is in the Sierra Nevada, where they're still digging out after as much as 4 feet dumped on the Lake Tahoe area. It's an early Christmas gift for skiers anxious to hit the slopes. And in Minneapolis, where folks are used to tough winters, the snow is piling up. At least 6 inches are on the ground, and more is on the way. Most areas hardest hit by the storm won't see real relief for a couple more days. Later this week, the National Weather Service releases its seasonal forecast. That's a glimpse of what may be in store for us in the months ahead. But right now, it's anybody's guess if this winter will be one to remember or one we'd rather forget. Monica Gale, CBS News, New York.
The R.J. Reynolds Company says it may put a new low-smoke cigarette on the market sometime next year. The company says the cigarette, called Eclipse, eliminates up to 90% of both secondhand smoke and cancer-causing tars. It does contain as much nicotine as regular cigarettes, and critics say that makes it just as addictive.
I can eat corn on the cob, and I can eat the apples as long as I've got super polygrip on these dentures. I know that it works. I mean, it holds my teeth in place. Using the super polygrip, I can continue auctioneering. Bid 35 and now bid 40, now 5, 45 and now bid.
Discover something new for regularity. Always made with the highest quality natural fiber. Metamucil, now at a surprisingly lower price.
I didn't think they could make Metamucil better, but they did.
Metamucil, the natural choice for regularity.
You know, there's nothing more fun than a vacation at sea. You can lounge in the fresh air, visit romantic ports, enjoy fine dining, great shows, pampered service. I love it here. There's so much to do.
Holly, Hal, hi, Kathy.
Hi, Richard. What are you doing here?
Having the time of my life.
Oh.
If my friends can see me now.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
I love this ship.
By the end of the week, 7 more lives will be saved. By the end of the day, 16 people who couldn't walk will. By the end of the hour, these special filters will help make 25,000 more gallons of water ready for drinking. And by the end of this message, 1 more premature baby will be protected. All of which is made possible with the help of a material we call plastic.
It's not just about headlines. It's about American lives. Here at home and around the world. You can't cover every story from an anchor desk. You've got to go there. Real news from 2 real reporters. See the difference. Experience CBS News.
There's word tonight that a freight train went off the tracks near Rutherford County, North Carolina. 25 cars of the train derailed near a Boy Scout camp. Emergency crews have rushed to the area and no word yet of any injuries. There are reports the train was carrying toxic chemicals. The Thanksgiving holiday starts a season of celebrating and feasting. But for millions of the nation's elderly, it can be a time of bleakness and hunger. That's tonight's Sunday Cover, coping with a growing problem in a time of stagnant budgets.
Who's there, please?
Meals on Wheels.
Ruth Barrett is 73 and legally blind from glaucoma. A widow living alone, she can no longer cook. So if it weren't for the hot meals delivered by Meals on Wheels of Buffalo, Ruth would not get the daily nutrition she needs.
This has been very instrumental in helping me survive.
Meals on Wheels of Buffalo is part of a nationwide federally subsidized nutrition program for the elderly, established in 1965.
Meals on Wheels was Clayton.
Last year, more than 3 million elderly received meals either at home or at senior centers. But government funding for the program has been flat for the past 5 years. Now, a recent study by the Urban Institute says up to 16% of the population over 60 are either hungry or malnourished to some degree.
The monies we provide is no longer able to keep up with the growing numbers of persons who need our services, which is why we have seen in the last few years increasing use of waiting lists to determine who gets our meals and who does not.
With a staff of volunteers, Buffalo Meals on Wheels delivers meals to 1,700 seniors 5 days a week. But still, there's a waiting list of 300, so they've had to resort to triage.
It's a very, very difficult task. We target and ensure that those most in need, most frail, most needy receive the service first.
Yeah, they say you got beef stew and mashed potatoes.
Oh, boy, I'm in business this year.
Jerry Tolbert is one of the needy ones. He suffers from rheumatoid arthritis and lives alone. But a year ago, he was accepted for the Meals on Wheels program.
My friend that delivered it, he brings it in here sometime for me and set it on the table for me. It treated me beautiful, and I'm very thankful for that.
Bless this food that we're about to receive today, Heavenly Father.
Last week, there was a special Thanksgiving dinner at the Moot Senior Center. It's one of 55 centers throughout Buffalo that serve 2,500 dinners daily for those who can still get out on their own. Older Americans like Ruth Barrett and Jerry Tolbert are among the more fortunate for now. But with funding flat and the numbers of elderly growing, the long-range outlook for the federal meals program could be grim.
The problems of malnutrition and hunger are serious, and if we don't get a handle on that before the baby boomers double the number of older persons, it may be an even greater tragedy.
Recipients of Meals on Wheels are asked to pay whatever they can afford. And in Buffalo last year, those contributions amounted to a third of the program's funding.
Forget the way you've been brushing your teeth. And remember Interplaque, the power plaque remover with twisting bristles. Clinically proven to clean better than manual brushing and help prevent gum disease. Interplaque from Bausch & Lomb.
Your house is a geometric maze, so Black & Decker presents the Collector to get you through it. With built-in attachments to easily switch from brush to nozzle. The Collector, to keep your house in perfect shapes.
Does your scalp itch so bad you wish you could shampoo anytime? Here's a better way. It's Scalpicin, a clear liquid you can use anytime and don't wash away like shampoo. Scalpicin stays on, keeps working with the medicine chosen by dermatologists as most effective for deep scalp itch. Scalpicin stops itching, helps prevent flaking with itch medicine dandruff shampoos don't have.
Scalpicin, stop that itch fast.
Scalpicin, specific medication for deep scalp itch.
So, what do you think? 45, 50, 60? Can't tell? My teeth won't give me away if they are my real teeth. Think I'd let you get this close if they were dentures? Maybe if I used Efferdent. Then there would be no stains or denture odor to worry about. So what do you say? You're not sure? We could ask my wife. Or is she my daughter?
So effervescent, so effective. Your secret is safe with Efferdent.
Vietnamese workmen today began demolishing the notorious prison dubbed the Hanoi Hilton by American POWs held prisoner there. Replacing it, a real hotel to accommodate Vietnam's growing tourist trade. That prison was built by the former French colonial government. The World Bank said tonight that the global AIDS crisis is getting worse, not better. It said that of the money raised for AIDS prevention, less than 10% is spent in developing countries, where 80% of HIV cases occur. Barry Peterson has more.
On the eve of World AIDS Day, the numbers are increasingly pessimistic. Researchers now say 17 million people have the disease. This is the world capital of AIDS, the Ivory Coast, where 1 in 8 is HIV positive, where more than a decade after its discovery, men still disregard condoms, women still do not insist. In Zimbabwe, farmers give condoms with paychecks, not that everyone takes them seriously.
We use them most of the times to protect ourselves.
You can't trust them, he says. In Germany today, an AIDS exhibit opened with a giant condom, a reminder that this scourge is easily preventable.
It's absolutely a must if you want to put a spotlight on the subject AIDS.
If AIDS still seems like someone else's problem, consider that 1 million Americans are now HIV positive. The death toll is now about 250,000. Consider that after spending an estimated $6 billion on research, there is no cure in sight. And then there is stupidity. The Romanians thinking they would cure malnourished children by giving them blood transfusions. The blood was infected. 93% of AIDS cases in Romania are children under 12. The lucky few live in an orphanage supported by the British.
What we're trying to do is give these children the best quality of life that we can give them for the last remaining years that they have.
The children understand their death sentence. They know the room where they will go to die, rocked by a nurse. They know they will be laid to rest here.
The children at the hospice have a quiet understanding of death. And when a child dies and you ask one of the other children, where is Valentina or where is Castell, they'll say, oh, Christos, with Jesus. And you say, are you frightened or are you scared of going with Jesus? No, because there's no school, there's plenty of sweets, there's no crying, there's no pain.
Almost from the beginning, we've known how to prevent AIDS, but it isn't happening. By tomorrow, at this time, another 6,000 people in the world will be infected to a sentence of death by AIDS. Barry Peterson, CBS News, London.
This evening marks the beginning of Hanukkah, the Jewish festival of light. And Jews in Russia are celebrating the holiday with a sense of freedom that many have never known before. More on that from Jonathan Sanders.
Russian Jews tonight are marking the start of Hanukkah. The 8-day festival of lights recalls freedom from oppression. Moscow's Jews are celebrating unprecedented liberties. Now young men like Mordechai can practice sacred rituals without fear.
It's getting better for all the Jews, not only in Moscow, in St. Petersburg, and Rostov, everywhere in Russia right now. I mean, we're free right now.
Where official anti-Semitism long ruled, there are now Jewish schools and activities, a whole range of social services.
The miracle of Hanukkah, which we actually celebrate, has really been repeated in the miracle of Jewish revival in the former Soviet Union today.
For the younger generation, the revival grows through classes in Hebrew. It's where 19-year-old Sveta, like many of her friends, is learning a once-forbidden heritage.
Do you feel yourself free to be Jewish?
My life, my everyday life proves that I really have such freedom, unlike my parents and grandparents.
So we have a chance now, and I'm very glad that my children introduced me to the Jewish traditions, holidays.
In this middle-class family, like many, it's the older members who have felt the sting of anti-Semitism the most. But whatever the generation, they know bigotry could reappear.
Many of us are really afraid that the past will return.
For now, they are counting their blessings.
We are Jews, we are proud of it, but now we have more rights to be proud of it.
With pride, many are celebrating those rights tonight, honoring Hanukkah and that most unexpected event, a Jewish Renaissance in Russia. Jonathan Sanders, CBS News, Moscow.
With Fixodent, I can stay active and as confident as I need to, all day.
Even in the hottest liquids, when other adhesives stop holding, Fixodent holds stronger and longer.
That's why I Fixodent and forget it.
Something's been overlooked in the design of women's razors. The woman. Now there's a razor that adjusts to your legs and underarms, even bikini line. Norelco Silhouette, the first razor designed to shave a woman where a woman shaves.
Mailboxes, etc. can pack and ship almost any gift.
No job's really too large or too small.
I'm going to put some foam packaging material in the box.
I want to make sure that all of these areas are protected.
We might double box it.
You'd bubble wrap it.
Oh, the bubbles. We'd put reinforced cardboard on here.
Tape it up and ship it out.
We'll get your packages there safely and on time.
I'll have to run over it with a forklift to break it. I shouldn't have said that.
Depend on mailboxes, etc. It's not what we do, it's how we do it.
The Nissan Altima offers extraordinary acceleration, steering response, and braking. We think you'll find it reassuring on those days when it seems like everyone's out to get you. The Nissan Altima. Now lease the Altima GXE for $750 down and $239 a month for 36 months.
5 tornadoes tore into the Memphis area late today, claiming at least 1 life. 2 of the twisters touched down in Germantown, just outside Memphis, demolishing at least 25 houses. And finally this evening, a shipboard memorial service was held this weekend in the Baltic Sea, where the ferry Estonia sank and over 900 people died. The disaster gave added poignancy to a compelling exhibition in London. Mark Phillips reports.
Nothing ever displayed at the Historic Maritime Museum in Greenwich, England, has produced the reaction of this collection of otherwise mundane objects. Tableware, glasses, pens, and watches. Mundane, except when they come from the Titanic. When the world's most famous wreck was discovered 2.5 miles down on the North Atlantic seabed in 1985, public fascination was again rekindled. But looking was one thing, touching and collecting was something else. Using a special deep-sea submersible, a joint American-French effort was able to pick up objects from the square mile of ocean floor over which Titanic debris is scattered. They haven't actually gone into the wreck. The very bell that was rung when the Titanic hit the iceberg can now be seen. And there is other memorabilia that can only be described as spooky. A life jacket, letters from passengers, a jacket worn by one of the ship's stewards. Evocative even if you had no connection to the tragedy, but especially so if you were there. For one survivor, it brought back memories of her father.
There's the way he spoke, he says, to my mother now. He put us into the lifeboat and he kissed us. He says he'll meet us in New York.
But he never did. Such sentiments and the fact the site is an official grave are behind objections to the exhibit. You might have thought that 82 years was a long enough time for the wounds to heal, even for a tragedy the magnitude of the Titanic. But apparently it isn't. Feelings are running so high that the museum had to include them in its display, but not high enough, it seems, to get them to cancel it.
I think our feeling about that is that so important is this ship. I mean, so much does it resonate that somehow so keen is the public interest that we felt that was an overriding consideration.
1,523 people died on the Titanic. The exhibit is a memorial to them. But it opened ironically within days of the Estonia ferry disaster in which 900 people died, making the memories here and the issues they invoke all the more real. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Greenwich, England.
And that's the news this evening. Stay tuned for 60 Minutes, and then later join Bill Plant with the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Dana King in New York. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again first thing tomorrow, along with Monica Gale on the CBS Morning News. Good night, everybody.
Experience CBS News.
This is CBS.